So, with all of the chaos that's going on right now with the whole Iowa results, or lack thereof, actually, Pete Buttigieg is at like a slight, tiny lead in the state delegate equivalents, the SDEs. Bernie leads the popular vote in terms of the amount of votes that he has. In addition, it's only 71% reporting in a lot of the areas that have not come in. I think the satellite caucuses have not come in yet, as well as areas that favor Bernie, but he's winning the popular vote and they have the same amount of delegates. Now, what seems to have been buried in all of this is Joe Biden's performance. Of course, Joe Biden being the main threat to Bernie Sanders, right? They're the two front runners now. Pete Buttigieg can only do well in Iowa and then New Hampshire, and then after that, he can't do anything. And we don't know how well he's going to do in New Hampshire, but Joe Biden is in trouble because as of right now, he's actually in fourth, I believe, after Elizabeth Warren. So he's in third or fourth, but I'm pretty sure he's in fourth. So this is from AP, Associated Press. It says Biden's poor showing in Iowa shakes establishment support. So this is really not a good situation. Now it says that Joe Biden, this is his third presidential bid, which is very crucial. So he's run a lot, right? He's run for president a lot of times. He's lost. There's actually a recent resurfacing of basically journalism that exposed him as this pathological liar who was a plagiarist, serial plagiarist, and lying about a bunch of stuff. It was pretty crazy. And so now Michael Bloomberg is starting to really turbo up in terms of how much cash he's spending on the election. And so they're starting to look at, okay, is Biden really a viable candidate? So he claimed he had a good night, which is quite obviously bogus for obvious reasons. He did not have a good night, obviously, right? So that doesn't make any sense, of course. And then it says that leaves some establishment Democrats, including some Biden supporters, questioning his contention that he'll reclaim clear frontrunner status in the race against President Donald Trump once the primary fight moves beyond overwhelmingly white Iowa and New Hampshire to more racially diverse electorates. And it's a reminder of how Joe Biden's previous presidential campaigns never advanced beyond Iowa. Quote, "If he came in fourth, yeah, that could hurt," said Bill Freeman, a Biden donor from Nashville, Tennessee, who added that he hadn't even considered such a possibility heading into Monday's caucus. That's a bad night, no matter how you spin it. Now, if you recall, actually, that Des Moines Register poll, the Selzer CNN Des Moines Register poll, which is a historic Iowa poll, actually had Biden getting, destroyed. He was at 13 points. He was in fourth. It went Bernie 22, Warren 18, Pete at 15 or something, and then Biden at 13 in the fourth spot. So that's why they didn't release it, was because Joe Biden was losing so bad. Now, again, it mentions the Bloomberg that, the whole Bloomberg that's looming here. It says Alex Sink, a Democratic donor who hosted Hillary Clinton in the 2016 race, said many donors are holding back, waiting to see how Biden does. They're also keeping an open mind about Bloomberg, whose campaign asked Sink last week to attend an event in Tampa. Quote, "I was anxious to do it because, like so many others, I'm curious and interested and worried about who our candidate will be and how we are going to beat Trump. Most of my friends don't know yet who they are voting for." Biden aides have said for months he didn't have to win Iowa or on February 11th in New Hampshire. He's better positioned in Nevada's February 22nd caucus. So basically what's going on here is there's a lot of just chaos going on, man. They're holding back. They're basically ditching his campaign. As you guys know, the money has not been very good for the Biden campaign. They're not raising that much money. They're not making that much money. Bernie Sanders is currently the guy in terms of fundraising. He's the one who's setting the numbers. He is the trendsetter for fundraising. He's broken every record you could possibly think of. He's in the lead, okay? And Biden's donors are mainly people who are already maxed out, big time maxed out donors, $2,700 and they're finished, So he's not getting that much cash. He's just simply not making that much money for his campaign. And so the money's drying up, the narrative is drying up, all of that stuff is starting to dry up. And really, once the donors start to dip, once the establishment figures, the powerful figures in the party, start to pull away from him as the establishment candidate, that's really the death knell for the Joe Biden campaign. And so I think this is actually lost in all of the whole Pete Buttigieg, Bernie Sanders stuff in Iowa. And, he could really be in trouble here. It really depends on how things play out, and we will find out. But this is not looking good for Joe Biden, even in the slightest.